Please do not pick this issue, everyone. I am working on this. So it's that time of the year, right? Hacktoberfest. You get t-shirt, you get swag, and most of all, you get to give back to the community. But how would you actually start working on it? What if there was a video that could teach you how to contribute to open source projects for Hacktoberfest? Well, this is the one. Let's get started. So first of all, we want to go to Hacktoberfest, or if you search Hacktoberfest, you should be able to just get this page. And then you start basically by clicking start hacking. It will ask you to sign up with GitHub. You sign up with GitHub, just allow this, and then once you are in, you should be able to see this really cool page where you can essentially see your progress. I'm not sure how it calculates your progress. Does it calculate your PRs which are up and not merged? I'm not sure this time, because last night I started, or I registered this, and then oh, there we go. Now my confusion is gone actually. So this one says here that I have submitted a package JSON engine blah 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 to this pull request, but it has not been accepted yet. So that's fine. At least I have pushed one thing. I believe how it works is that when you register for this one, any pull requests that you have created from October 1st to 30th of October, they are counted as in contributions. And the more you create, the higher the chances are for you to get some swag. So you get a t-shirt, then you get some stickers, you get perhaps things like this one. So it's possible that you get this one as well. This one had this purplish and blue and orange sort of look and feel to this. But the new one, I mean, I like the color, to be honest. This looks good. I'm assuming that the merch that would come with this, the t-shirt and whatnot, I believe they would be cool. So I think it's just time that would tell how to do that. But ideally, you should be creating pull requests to multiple pages or multiple open source projects. And once you reach your goal, like these 5 or these 4 pull requests, so every year you have to submit 4 pull requests, and if they get merged and accepted, then obviously it is counted as an achieved goal. If you get 4 of those right, then I believe, at least for the past few years, what has happened is that about 500 people who actually submit and who reach the goal first, they get the swag. So most likely, I'm not sure if they have changed the number this time. Maybe they have not, but at least last time that was the case. There were 500 people who actually got the swag. So you can go to frequently asked questions and see who will get the rewards. They have kind of embedded this really nice UI here. Maybe is it built with Notion? It's built with Airtable. Okay, that's interesting. So yeah. Before October, pull requests created before October 1 but merger mark as ready for review will not be counted. So yeah, that is essentially what they have. To win a reward, I'm gonna zoom this a bit so everyone can see this better. Let's see. So this one says category rules. Yes. So it says that it has to be before October 31. One of the good things is that this year they have also included GitLab. I don't believe that was the last year. So they usually go with GitHub only, but I think they have kind of partnered with GitLab this time as well. And it looks good. So some of the questions that I should be answering to you when we talk about how to actually start working on this. First of all, when you go here on your homepage, once you have signed up for this, you should be seeing this button at the bottom, which is Give. When you click on this, you should be able to see all these projects. So this says search for open source project, blah, blah, blah. Oh, this is not actually contributing. This is about donating, I think. But there should be resources. And let's see. Maintainers, participation, beginners, organizations, company, start hacking. Where is the Hacktoberfest link here? Share your experience, how to do your first PR, blah, blah, blah. Maybe it's exactly in giving. Show more. GitHub sponsors, slide tag. One of the things that you could do is if you go to GitHub and if you start looking at label, or you search Hacktoberfest, you should be starting to see a lot of these results. And when you select Hacktoberfest like this label, you should be able to get this topic. So this is actually what we are looking for, the topic Hacktoberfest. So if I can quickly link this or share this link with you. So this is what you could go for, and then you could see what these projects have basically in common. And you can also filter on a language or based on the language itself. So let's say you are a JavaScript developer, which is why probably you are viewing this stream. So you should be able to just go here and select language, and JavaScript will essentially take you to only projects which are based on JavaScript. So for instance, Material UI, and try to focus on the tickets or the issues which have the Hacktoberfest label, or there are also a lot of issues which has this good first issue label. Now this good first issue label, this is something that is not specific to Hacktoberfest. So this is something that you can pick any time. So a good first issue is something that is really easy to handle. For the good first issues as well, you can try to find a lot of issues. So you can see that this is this repository which has a first timer. We have this repository updating to Node.js version 16. So these are all the issues that are really small, updating the packages to latest version. These are 90% of the projects which people contribute to in any Hacktoberfest. So start going into these. For instance, just go here. One of the things that I would recommend you to do is whenever you are working on the Hacktoberfest challenge, whenever you see a project, you first have to just go and comment in here that I am doing this. Yeah, I am taking it. This is important because there would be a lot of people who would just come here and say, you know, I want to work on this one. But the thing is that if everyone picks the same ticket, then who's going to work on this, or whose pull request is going to be merged? So let's try to actually contribute to one of the PRs. All right. So let's say this is a project LC timer by this really cool guy, Rastislav Swarba. So the first thing that you need to do is make sure you just go here and say, I'm going to work on this. Okay. Let's see what the code looks like and what kind of thing is this. It's lightning coding timer. So you'll need say command for to work. I don't know what that is, but let's try working on this. So this is the good first issue. So what I've done is that I've just picked up one good first issue, which is this one. Then I go here, and first it is really important that you go there and then you first say that, hey, I'm gonna pick this ticket so no one else does. So now that I have this, I'm saying I'm working on this issue to demonstrate to my stream on Twitch. Work with Node.js 16. So we could work with, there's someone who already created a PR for this. Okay, this one has some issues here. A few demo interface breaks. Has there been any? All right, let's see. I think this is a potential good thing. Describe the bug. These demos are breaking in a smaller resolution. Picture in picture. So this is breaking in a smaller resolution. Why does it break in a smaller resolution? Seems okay to me. Oh, interesting. What? Why didn't I see this thing here? Did I miss it? Am I blind? It seems okay to me. Let's see. If you think competitive or being competitive is competing with myself, then maybe, oh, there we go. Now you see. Let's try to fix this one. So I'm gonna first say I'm gonna fix this. Please do not pick this issue, everyone. I am working on this. Please do not pick this one. All right, is that cool? All right, cool. Let's say I also, first I'm gonna comment this, then I'm gonna edit this because otherwise someone else is gonna pick this. All right, so this is gonna be fun. Yeah, this one. Because I want to actually copy this. All right, let's go. Let's go. First of all, let's see what package or what version of Node.js do they have. Maybe I think it's going to be really simple. So let's see. Do we have package.json? Yes, we do. I'm going to zoom this a bit so all of you can see this. So it seems like we don't have any limitation of node version, so we're not going to do that. Now, the first step, we need to fork this. So what you do is that you click this fork button because you cannot push directly to a repository that you don't have the access to. So you fork this and then you select where you want to fork this. I'm going to fork this into my own account, let's say WebAPS Playground. When you do this, it is going to create a copy of this exact repository, but in your account. So now you have the access to push to this repository and do whatever you want to do. So now what we want is, now that we have cloned this or forked this, we need to clone this into our machine. So now you will see that the URL becomes github.com/asanias because it's my account. So you have to fork this first and then you have to clone it. So you clone this and then you go ahead and you do what you want to do. So I'll do desktop. I think I have a folder called contributions. And here I do git clone this link. So we got this cloned into our machine now. And now I have it, I can just open it like this. So I will say web APIs playground, and this should open this into my code editor. Yeah, I trust the authors, that's me. Close this guy here and open this. And now let's see. So I'm going to close this window as well. And now let's try to code this. So first of all, when you clone a project, you need to make sure that you install the dependencies. This repository has this yarn log file, so we know that we can install it via yarn. So we're gonna just run yarn and see if everything works fine for the other projects. So I'm gonna create, the thing is that the issue that they have mentioned, they have a lot of things. Let's say picture in picture. First, let's pick that one, see what this is about. So the dimensions, UI shouldn't break in responsive mode. So this shouldn't be happening. So that means that we have some CSS issue right there. So one of the things is that this image, this is perhaps causing this issue where we have a smaller resolution. So in package.json, we have this script that we should be running, which is the dev script. So we'll say yarn dev, and this should bring up the server to us. It is asking me for permission. So I'm going to quickly give this the permission that they need. And now we have started the server. This is a Next.js based application, which means that it's going to use React. I also saw Tailwind somewhere, so I think it's also using the Tailwind CSS. Yeah, I see the Tailwind config here. So yeah, they are using Tailwind CSS for sure. So we're gonna see what the project looks like, where does it break, blah blah blah. So let's see. So here, localhost 3000. So here the app should be running. That is what it is. So the first one was, what was that? The picture in picture. All right, so the picture in picture, which is this one, it should be picture. This is the one. All right, so if I open this is, I think, StackBlitz, or is this demo right here? Yeah, it is right here. When we inspect this into a sort of, if we say responsive, this looks, oh no, it doesn't look fine. And the only thing that I can see is causing the trouble is this guy here. So this probably has a width which is not flexible enough. So they're getting this from here. All right, let's see if we can find this code here. So we got this here, which is this guy. So we have a video which is centered, but this is only, so the problem is this video does not get shrinked in mobile responsiveness. So let's say if we are talking about an iPhone X, this is how it would look. So an iPhone X has a width of 375 pixel versus 812 height. So this is the width and this is the height. What we want to do is to be able to, for this to be flexible. So this video is not flexible for some reason. And this center, let's say if this had to take a width of 100%, which means that this would take exactly the same width as this one. And if we give this fork a width of 100% as well, then you see that the problem is essentially solved. The only reason that we have this is still going outside, if we have a quick look at the page, is probably because this has a margin. Or either this has a margin, or actually this has a margin. So if we give this a margin of 0, this becomes solved, right? So this is how you would essentially see. So we potentially solved the issue by doing something. One is that we made sure that this takes a maximum width of this, and secondly we remove the margin. Once we do that, the width automatically, if we don't give this width 100%, you see we still have an issue. So this needs these two things to be able to work with. Now in order to work on something with responsiveness, we need to implement some media queries. So let's talk about these things. First of all, what we want to do is, I'm not sure if we have, I said SM and then I said margin 0 and this didn't work. Did this work? No. Tailwind prefix. So they are using the Tailwind prefix TW-Z- which means that we need to do something like, so TWM0. That should work, but then didn't work. Why didn't it work? TW-M-4. But the thing is, I don't even see my class being applied here. So if I say something like SM, would this work? Let's see. So in this case, this is not applying. I'm going to change this to responsive and see what happens. So what I can see is that that class doesn't apply at all. We have something here. Now, if I just say TWM0, would that work? Would that override this initial margin? I mean, it should, right? If it doesn't, then I'm going to be really mad. So we have TWM0, then TWM0 here. And the first one is overriding the second one. So if I change the sequence from here, what would that mean then? Would that mean we're going to use the TWM0? No. So we have this global dot CSS here. And we have some styles here. We don't have TW here at all. And this is global.css. Interesting. What? All right, this is confusing. Let's see. This is how you code. So this is global CSS, align self-center 3, and this is also line 3. This is all line. So the source map are not correct at all. That's what I can quickly see. TWM2, M4. So we have TWM4 applying afterwards. Then we have TWM0 being applying first. And if I apply those two, then we need to say margin 0 first. Then we need to say something like minimum or medium TWM4. We refresh. And hopefully this would be compiled and run successfully. So by default, the width would be 0. But when it comes to the medium view, then it's going to start increasing. So let's try this. Let's rerun this. I don't know why this stopped. So we got this person here. Let's see. So in this case, we're gonna make this responsive to pixel 2. And I don't know why, but I should be zooming out. Let's remove this. Let's go back. Let's go to 100% here. And now let's see how this would work. So on responsiveness here, when we go down, we have no margin. So our problem is solved. Whatever we were trying to do, that is solved. See, at this point, we have a margin. And this margin you can see on both left and right. So we have this orange spacing, right? If I go down a bit, and now if I mouse over it, you don't see that spacing. So what's happening here is that, to make you understand, we have said that, hey, by default, this is gonna have 0 margin. And this is default. But then we are saying whenever the resolution is medium, or we could also say small as well. But whenever the resolution is small, which means that it has a minimum width of 640 pixel, then we are gonna start adding this margin 4 to it. And that's what we are doing right now. So by default, it's 0. So it starts from here. No margin. By default, it's 0. But if you increase the width to 640 pixel or above, you will see that exactly at 640 pixel, it's gonna have, unless they have changed the breakpoints. So here we don't have, all right. So here we don't have any margin on this video. But if I increase this further, now you can see. So here at this point, we have 637, right? 637, no margin. You can see here we have margin as a dash, no margins at all. But if I increase to 640, you can see that now we got the margin, and that's what I'm talking about. So by default, no margin, but from 640 and onwards, we got a margin. So that's what we wanted as a code as well. So now here, if I bring this down, you see no margin, that is good. But then also we need to apply the width as well. So let's say we have a width here. So let's make it responsive in a way that by default, we say that this video has a full width. So we say TW width screen, and let's save this and see how this looks. So if I do this, you see that it now completely fills the width even on higher screens. By default, this wasn't the case. So if I don't do that, you can see that on the large screens, it is not the case. But if I do this, TW width screen, now that's the case. Now we don't want this to be exactly the case when it's increasing, because that's too much. That's kind of changing the way it was before. So what we could do is, for the width, we could have something like width of half or 50%. So let's do that. But for 50%, we are going to say from small onwards, it's going to be 50%. So it's going to be TW dash width half. So when we do this, let's see what happens. So here it's taking full width. All right. Then when we go above this 640, see what happens. It shrinks down. All right. Do you get the idea? And now if I keep increasing this, this is fluid. It is taking at least half of the width of the entire screen. So if I increase this to, let's say, further, something like this, it's going to keep increasing. So we have a really good fluent width. So I think this problem is solved. So we don't have any issues with this one. Now let's talk about fixing other things as well. So we got other issues, and I hope no one has picked this issue, because that happened. All right, no one has picked this issue. So the next one is, which one exactly? The file system API. So let's try this in the phone as well. So here you see that we have these button issues, so we can just center them. I think that's no big deal. I don't know why this text image is broken, but let's quickly fix that. So we are gonna go into demos, and we're gonna pick the file system API, this guy here, and then we're gonna try to search select a text file. Select a text file. Here we have. So here what we need to do is, we have this flex column, we have item center, justify center, but we also need to make sure that when we have a smaller screen, then we have to make sure that this is reversed, so to say. So by default, let's see. So we got flex, then we got flex column. Okay, so it's flex column, but then we have item center and justify content. Interesting. Let's see. So here we got the flex direction set to column, which means that this is this guy here. No, not this guy. This guy here should have a flex direction column, which it has. Align items is center. Okay. Then we have justify content centered as well for these ones. Oh, so the problem here is that they have applied this style for these two buttons, but they have not had two different elements or these buttons as flex. So we need to give this same thing here as well. So I'm gonna just put this here, put these classes here, but then that would mean that if I refresh now, let's see what happens. So we got this guy here, we got this text file button, so we got button here. This is a display flex, so we need to give this class TW flex as well. Refresh, see this. So now you see that this is now centered, if I'm not incorrect. So this guy here, and this is right now okay. All right, so this is a display flex. We got flex direction column, which is good. We got justify content center and align item center as well. But what I'm not understanding is, oh, we got this margin here as well. That is a problem, the margin left. Let's see. So what we'll do is there, we are going to remove this style from here, from this button, and we're going to use a class here. So class name here, we're going to say something like TWML2. Let's see how this looks like here. So now you see that we have this sort of margin here. Let's make it a MEL4. Let's see. All right, now this looks like before. So what we are going to say here is that it's going to take a TWML0 by default, but then from small screen onwards, it's going to take ML4. So now you will see that this has no margin by default. And then if I increase the width, then it will start to take those values. So let me quickly fix that. So here I'm going to take these classes, and then here I'm going to say this is by default the values, but from small, the T from small, these are just the classes that we have by default. So from the small world, we are going to say this is going to be TW flags row. Let's see. So now we have what we were expecting before. By default, it's going to show like this. So this is a desktop view. In the desktop view, we have the first button, but the second button with the margin. But if I smaller down the scope here, you will see that in the small scope, if we go any further down, these classes will start to kick in, where we have flex column and not the flex row. So this class will not matter anymore. Right now, you can see that this style is being applied right here. But if I go further down, you will see that that style gets removed. Boom, that style is gone. So now we have this here, but this is also a bit ugly because they don't have any spacing between them. So what we should be doing here is that we should add another class here, and then we should call that by default that it should have a margin of something from top. So let's do that. So here this button by default has a margin left 0, gets a margin 4, but this should have by default a margin top of 4, but from the small world it's gonna take a margin of 0. So see, now we have the margin, but now that we have added this margin, if I increase the view, you will see that this margin also comes here in the big view, and that is how it works. So you might be looking at this code and be like, oh, what's happening? But the thing is that we have changed it for the smaller view. Now we have to fix it for the big view. So for the small view, you see that this button right here says that I'm gonna take a margin top of 4. But what about the big view? So we also need to add one more class for this one. So by default it's 4, but from small onwards it's gonna take tw-mtop0. So for small and above, it's gonna take a 0. So now you see that if I increase this, we will not see that margin. Boom, we are on the right track. Okay, so if we do a gap, then we probably don't have to do this as well. So we can simply say something like gap tw gap 4. So if we do this, let's see what happens. So I said gap 4, but it didn't work. Oh, I think I have to apply this here and not exactly there. Yeah, let me do that. It should be here, I think, right? So let's see. Yeah, it works. Cool. So if we have a gap 4 here, you can see that it uses some magic with this gap of REM. And now if I do this, cool, it works. Let's move to the next issue, or the next demo that we have as an issue. Let's fix this thing. Let's fix this whole issue that we have been talking about, and let's see how this goes. Cool. So I'm gonna go back here, and this is the exact code where we have to fix this issue. So what we need here is exactly that we need some sort of margin here. So we're gonna say something like tw margin, and let's say 4. And this is going to be margin horizontal. So I'm gonna just save this without formatting. So here, what did I change? If I remove this, what would happen? Refresh. Let's see. I do this, refresh. All right, nothing's happening in this case. If I go down to this resolution, then it becomes a problem, where we have this as a mobile device. So we are using iPhone 7, 8, 6 or 6, 7, 8 for this example. So I'm gonna go here, put back what we just did. I'm gonna save this, and then let's see what happens. So here now you see we have a really good margin. It looks good on the phone, and yeah, I think most of the code would not have this issue anymore. So I think we have done a really good job in this particular ticket. Let's say if we go back to the view here, it also looks good. So we don't have any issues. On the smaller screen, it looks really good. Cool. Broadcast channel, what was the issue here? Some messages, okay. Some text, okay, that works. So let's fix that. Let's go to broadcast, which is this guy here. We got some message issue here. So you can see that at least the top one is okay, but this guy has no idea what should be here. So we're gonna try to find this code and we're gonna try to fix this. So we're gonna try to find this in the whole repository. We find this is here, and we'll try to do the same thing as we did with this folk here. So you're gonna apply the same classes here for both of these. So we're gonna say here class name, and then here we're gonna give these class. We go here and boom, we got this folk here that is fixed. Let's see what other issues we had. So we have one more or two more, which is vibration API. Didn't we just fix the vibration API? No, this is the broadcast API. Let's see the vibration API. The vibration API here and see how this looks on a mobile. So this looks exactly like the problem that we discussed. So we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna put this code right on this text. So we're gonna try to search this. You see that now that I'm familiar with this code base, it has become really easy for me, right? So we can do the same thing here. Once we do this, this should work. Open this page in a new tab. No, this wasn't the one, right? This is the broadcast channel, and what are we in? Web APIs. All right. So we need to copy this. We need to go into finding this, the vibration API works. So we are gonna say the vibration API works, and we get this guy here, and we just need to apply some style to this p tag, and that should work. All right. Boom, this is fixed. The only thing that I see is it's not exactly the same as the above one. So maybe we need to give this p another class like this. And now this is quite aligned with this one. Otherwise it wasn't actually aligned. So it wasn't looking good to me. So let's do that the same for broadcast channel as well. I'm gonna give this a pixel one. Gonna try this as well. Broadcast API. Gonna make sure they both look the same. No, they don't for some reason. Let's see. So we got this guy here with the p tag. Now they do. It looks like it was just compiling. All right, cool. Now we got this. Cool. Now they look the same. The only thing that I'm kind of worried about is that I don't want these to be the margin to not be, it shouldn't be just, it should be just left and right and not top and bottom. So I'm gonna fix that. No, it should be margin horizontal 4. My bad. It's MX. So MX. All right, now this is fixed. So this doesn't have, why does this have a margin of top and bottom? Interesting. Margin left and margin right is giving from here. The padding is coming from here. The margin on this whole body, is it coming from MX? No, it's max width. That's fine. Is it coming from max width? Maybe, but the width is not exactly that. So we got this guy, but this is getting the margin from somewhere. Let's see. Margin's coming 16, margin 0, and then MX4, and let's see what happens then. Now, would this fix this? Maybe. So it's broadcast channel. I'm on the right one. All right, this fixed it. So we don't want any top and bottom margin. Or maybe we do. I don't know actually. I'm gonna remove this. All right. So now that we have this, I'm gonna copy this. Make sure that we have the same on vibration. It's exactly the same. Cool. And what else? So this is working for the broadcast. We got the vibration API. We go there, we see this also works exactly on the same one. We don't have any issues with there as well. Let's see what it was showing here before. So for the broadcast, it was this. For the vibration, it was this as well. This is, I don't know for which one. I think it's for the last one, which is image capture. So let's go to demos and image capture, which is this guy here. And now let's see how this image capture looks like. So we got image capture, try it, and this is how it looks. So the buttons, they are not exactly great. So we can use the gap technique. So let's go with that. So we got the button that says start stream, and this is using a padding, but we have TW cap 4. So we do that. Let's see what happens. Is it compiling? No, it's not compiling, which means that there is some issue with the structure itself. So here we got flags and all that, but inside that we have this guy here with the padding 5, but it doesn't have any sort of gaps within that. So maybe what we need to do is we need to be able to have some sort of alignment in that. So we're gonna give this guy, first of all, we're gonna remove this padding. We don't want that. Then we're gonna start by class name, and we are gonna say TW flags, and then we are gonna say TW cap 4. Just gonna save this, so you see now this is that. Now we're gonna say something like this, so TW flags call blah blah blah, and now you see this. The thing is that we don't actually want columns, so we might want to go with row, but we also want to be able to sort of wrap around it. So how do we make sure that they take their space, which they should, and then they kind of go ahead with. So first of all, I'm going to say padding x should be 4, let's say. So we got the padding right on the left and right to apply this clause. So TW-flex wrap, we should be good. So you see that now we have these 2 rows. If we don't put this flex wrap, see what happens. So if I remove this, see what happens. They come in the same line. What we want is we should be able to just directly have these 2 divs here, and then we should be using them. So let's do this. And now you see that we got these values. When it's column, we don't want this to be centered. So we want this to be something like this. So let's see. So we're gonna say this. That didn't work. So we're gonna remove this guy here. Yeah, this is much better, I think, or maybe not. I think this is good. Start the stream. It would ask me for my camera and then will fail immediately because the camera will not be available. Yes, because my camera is right now being used here. I also want to give this guy a margin as well. You know, this feels a bit weird for some reason. I don't know, or at least have some sort of margin, right? Yeah, I'm gonna give this a margin. So this is the video. This is gonna take a sort of margin. So this is gonna be something like TW margin 4 initially, but then from small and onward it would be margin 0, let's say. All right, something like this. So now it feels a bit better to me somehow. So if I remove this, then you don't need a margin, then you're fine. But here, yeah, you need a bit of margin, right? So I think we're good here. We actually were able to fix all of these issues that they had. So let's see. I think we are actually done with all of the issues. Let's see. So the final one was this guy here. Were there any other instructions that we wanted to see? No, I think this is good. Cool, awesome. So now it's time for us to commit this code and finally say, yay, we have contributed to something. So when you do that, you have to make sure a couple of things. First, you don't change anything unnecessarily. So these are the changes that I did. I don't know why they are there. So I'm not going to be pushing this yarn.lock. So I'm going to revert this as it is. With other files, I will push the change. So I'm going to review them one by one, and then I'm going to create a commit. So first of all, I'm going to go here, check the demo file. So what we changed was this, the margin. I'm going to add that. Then we have this file where we changed these classes. I'm going to add that. Then we had this file change where we had this button gap, blah, blah, blah. Then we added this class name. Now see that this class name that I added, this has no use. And I think you cannot see it because it's way forward. So I'm gonna make it easier for you to see. There you go. So here you see that on this file, which is the file system API file, you see that we have this change, which is the class name, and there is no class assigned to it. So it's useless. So I don't want to push some change that is useless. So I'm gonna go and essentially open this file, which is this file, search class name, and you can see that this is our change. So I'm going to remove this. It is always a good idea to review your changes before you push it to either your own repository or to someone else's, especially if you're doing it for someone else. All right, so always make sure that you review it. So here there were no issues. I think we are good. Image file name, class name, blah blah blah. There are some style changes that have happened, but I'm not too worried about those. The classes, they are good. I'm gonna add this file. Then we have this index page demo, the image capture one. So for the image capture one, we removed the style padding because we added this padding. So we are good there. Actually, we are not good because this was padding applied from everywhere and we have set X here. So I'm gonna just remove the X. So that means padding 4, which is okay. So I'm gonna save this. Let's see what else we have. All right, so that was a change. Then we had this change. We added some styles to here. And then we also have some changes here, which are not too big. So I think we're good. No problems here. So adding this file as well. Now let's see what change we had in this video. So we added some classes here. That's cool. Then we also have a lot of changes into the other file as well, because prettier extension. I'm not sure if I should be pushing all of this because I just changed one line and now I have too many file changes. Picture in picture. Do we have prettier installed in here? We do have prettier installed, but then why don't we use that? Arrow parenthesis, semi-true, tab width 2. They don't have the rule for maximum width, and that's why it's causing an issue. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna just go here. I'm gonna copy this code, the thing that I have changed. Just gonna copy this, and I'm gonna revert the rest of the code because we don't have that. We don't need that. We haven't changed anything else, I think. Yeah, I can see we have not changed anything else. So I'm gonna revert this actually, and then do a picture in picture again. It was this guy here, and then I'll just update the video element that I just copied. So this is the one. I'm just gonna save this without formatting. So I'm gonna press Ctrl+Shift+P, format without saving, and then this is saved. And now if I see the changes, this is the only change that I have. We don't have any other changes. All right, so I hope you see where I'm going with this. No other changes, so that's good. I'm gonna add this, and this makes it easier for the person who is reviewing your PR to easily review this. Otherwise they would be like, what the hell, why do we have so many changes in the files? Let's see this final change. We have no changes whatsoever, so I'm gonna add that as well. Finally, we are about to create a PR. So we are gonna first create a branch for it. So you do that by doing git checkout b, which means we are creating a new branch because we don't want to push to master. All right, right now we are at master. So if you check git branch, you will see that we are at master, and we should never be pushing to master directly. So what we'll do here is that we'll say something like git checkout b, then we'll give this a branch name. Since this is a branch for fixing something, we're gonna use a prefix of fix, then we'll say slash, and then we'll talk about what the issue is. So one of the practices is that you can copy the issue number, which is issue 53 here. So we can simply say issue dash 53 dash, and then we can talk about what this is. So it is few demo interface breaks the mobile resolution. So we can say demos breaking on mobile, your demos UI, or few demos UI breaking on mobile. So this is a really good branch name. It makes it easier for the reviewer or for the person who maintains this repository to know, okay, this is the branch name, this is what it's doing. So when you do this, we are now switched to a new branch, which is this exact whole name, including the fix keyword. So this is the whole name of the branch. Now that I have this, I can just, since I have already added this code via this source control tab from VS Code, now I can, if you want, you can simply do git add dot, and this would exactly do the same thing. For instance, if I remove them from the changes, I can now do git add dot, and this will still put this again into the staged changes. So if I see, now you can see that this is staged, and now this is ready to be pushed. So I'll say git commit, then I'm saying -m, which means that I can provide a message here. The good idea here is to follow a practice which most standard companies usually follow, and that is you first define the type of what sort of git commit it is. So a really good idea for commits is to follow the conventions, the standard convention. First you type the type of this commit. So this is a fix, so I'm going to say fix. Then you define the scope of this fix. So for this one, this is demos. Then I'm gonna say column, and then I'm going to define in one liner what is this fix is about. And I'm going to say in form of a present tense that fix this, not that I have fixed blah blah blah, but I'm gonna say fix this particular thing. That is the scope of this PR or this commit. So I'm gonna say fix few demos breaking, or demos UI breaking on mobile. So this is a fix. Now I'm gonna press shift and enter to go to a new line. You can see this character here. Then I'm gonna give another shift enter. So now I have a new line. So this is a line break that we want between this title, this commit title, and this message that I'm going to write right now. So I'm gonna say here I can define in multiple lines what I fixed. So I could say fixed the UI issues happening on the mobile. Now notice that in this particular situation, in the message, I'm saying fixed, which is a past tense, which means that here we can say I fixed this, I fixed that, blah, blah, blah. But in this title, it is supposed to be in a present tense in terms of action on what is to be done. Fix the UI issues happening on mobile for a few demos, removed some React styles and used Tailwind or used pure CSS or Tailwind CSS instead. Then you can type further things like code or I feel great. And then you could say something like I feel great, code with SN community is awesome, you are also awesome, to create this repository or this repo / project Hacktoberfest is awesome, I'm hungry, and whatever. You could type anything that you want, and then you can just push this code. Okay, once you are done with that, just close the message with quotations. Notice that we have started a quotation, then we typed a title, and then we press shift enter to come here. Then we gave a line break, and now we are writing a line, then we press shift enter, then we write a line, then we press shift enter, and so on. And finally, when you're done with this whole code or message, just press double quotations and hit enter, and then this commit message should be done. So you will see that this stage changes, they're all gonna just go and they're gonna be merged. So now you can see that these changes are gone. One really good way of identifying if your commit is done is by doing git log. So you can see these logs. All right, and now once you are done with that, I can go to my repository and then create a PR from there. So I'm gonna go to my code repository. So let's go there. So we are here. Sorry, this is the original repository, which is the ATAPS Web APIs Playground. This is my repository of the same thing. So SNIR/Web API Playground. If I refresh here, you will see that since I have pushed to that code, I should be able to see, oh, sorry, I have not pushed the code. So I have to push the code now. So here I will now say git push. And as I do so, this will give me a message that, hey, this branch does not exist on your GitHub because I've created it locally in my machine. Git push set upstream origin blah blah blah. So when I copy this and run this, this will now push this code to my repository here. And now you see that here we already got this message that, hey, this had recent pushes. Do you want to create a pull request? Now you can quickly click here, compare and pull request. And when you do so, you will see that it will create this PR or a draft to the actual repository against the master branch from my repository or my copy, but with my branch. So it's my branch is not the master branch. It's exactly the branch that I push the code on. So you can see that from my branch, to the actual repository's master branch, we are creating this particular commit or PR. So you can see here, we have some template, so we can follow that. So we can say description. We can also say this. We can just paste this here, the UI, CSS. All right, let's see. So I think we already have this in the commit, so we don't probably need this whole thing here. Maybe, yeah, let's keep it like this. Then we have the fix this number issue. So here we can define what issue number was that. So this is issue number 53. So we can put this here. When you'll preview this, you will see that this automatically links the issue. So if I mouse over it, you can see that here we have this directly being assigned to this. Okay. Now that we have this, let's see what it says. Please delete options that are not relevant. So I can delete this. New feature, non-breaking change. So none of this, but just the bug fix. So you press X here and then you see a tick mark here automatically. All right, so I'm gonna move this. How this has been tested, we don't need that. We need checklist. I think we all follow this checklist. I have commented my code particularly hard. I have made corresponding changes to documentation. Not required. My changes generate no new warnings. Yes, I have added tests that prove my fix. We don't need that. New existing unit test pass. We don't need this, and this is okay. So I think we are good. All right, so let's create this. Let's create a pull request. As soon as we do that, you will see that this pull request will now be created against this actual project. All right, so there we go. We got the PR created. You can see that this is the PR that we have already created. Its number is 55. Here, it's already linked in the issue as well. Really cool GitHub. All right, I hope you found this video useful. If you did, press the thumbs up button. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and feel free to connect on my socials. You can find them in the description. And also, if you are interested in seeing what I use for my videos, you can see the affiliate links in the description as well. All the best for your 4 PRs in Hacktoberfest. I hope that you get that swag, and I'm going to see you in the next one. Happy coding.